Okay, welcome back, Nowhere Fast Garage fans, and we have another project we're kicking off here. Just picked this up about a week and a half ago. 84 Camaro Z28. That's the L69HO 305 engine. 700 R4 overdrive and the 373 rear. Paint on this one is in very nice shape. The previous owner said it had been repainted a while ago, but it looks pretty fresh to me. It's a little bit of overspray in some areas, which is not really a big deal. Try to remove some of that or paint it black. It's got new tires all around. And very nice, really no scratches, no dents. It is a bit of a project though. It has the optional Lear Siegler Contour seats, which apparently is sort of a rare option. I'm not really very familiar with it. I used to own a 86 IROC Camaro back when I was a youngster, and I haven't really been into F-bodies in a very long time, so just relearning everything again. So missing the headliner, but the one plus about this car is, see, I don't know if the T-tops leak or not. They don't seem to leak, but the floors are very solid. In fact, I really couldn't find any rust on this car other than some minor surface rust. I have the door panel off because the glass was out of alignment when I was shutting the door. The glass was catching on this drip edge. The glass was up too far. When I took off this door panel, I found that there's supposed to be a stop here for the upward motion of the glass, and that was totally missing. There was a bolt that holds the glass to the metal bracket in here was missing. So once I put those back in and adjusted the glass, it doesn't go up as high, and it does shut now. It's not perfect. If you shut it by the door handle, push it here, it will still catch. If you push it closed on the glass, it will shut. No problem. But the glass still seems a little bit loose, so probably gonna have to go in there and check that out a little bit more. I tightened up everything as much as I could see. It's still a little floppy. You want to put the door panel back on. That'll help hold it in place. So there's a tear in the seat. The seats are stained, a little bit dirty. Hoping I can clean them up. Maybe get this patched if I need to. The carpet is pretty much shot, so probably get a new carpet, new headliner. A few missing trim pieces, like here, and missing the rear trim that goes across the back window. Plastic trim that holds up the headliner, so I gotta find one of those. Just like the other GMs, the usual situation. Gauges are kind of wonky. Dash lights don't work. So I'm going to be pulling out this cluster and trying to clean up the contacts on that. Took it for a drive for the first time, really, by myself, you know, besides the initial test drive. And the belts were really squealing. Found the AC belt. It's very loose, so I was able to put some tension on that. So the alternator belt, I think I made that a little too tight. I'm probably gonna have to loosen that up a little. Unfortunately, it is missing the original dual snorkel air cleaner and the Quadrajet. It's got a Holley 1850 on it. And being that the computer system is unplugged, there's a few connectors like that hanging around. It does have a check engine light. I do have a Quadrajet though. A friend of mine had this Quadrajet laying around for about 25 years. It was from his 86 Monte Carlo SS with low miles, so looks like it's in pretty good shape. I'm probably gonna pop it open and make sure everything looks good. Maybe try putting that on here. It does also have an exhaust leak, and the lifts for the hood and the hatch are shot. Other than that, it runs and drives pretty good. The brakes are not great, very spongy, so I gotta check into that. This light was not working, and this light was not working, and on the dashboard, when I turned the lights on, the right turn signal indicator, the green light on the dash, would just stay on steady, and the lights didn't work, the blinker didn't work, nothing. I started checking all the wires, I couldn't find any problem, and then I realized when I looked at this socket, right here is supposed to be a little metal tang, that's the ground for the bulb, and as you can see here, it just snapped off. So I got myself a new socket, and here's the socket, and I just had to splice this in, and now everything's working. Easy fix, cheap fix. It just took me a little while to figure out what the deal was. I didn't even realize I was missing that metal tang until I took off the other side and looked at that socket, and then I saw, okay, oh, this one has a metal tang, this one doesn't. Finally got cluster all back in, and the door panel is on. Alright, no gas in the carburetor. There we go. No choke on this carburetor. So she's a little cold-blooded. So now this car will not hold an idle. So I'm going to try to raise the idle. See what happens. That's better. So car seems to be running pretty good. It's the most I've driven it since I bought it. The one really annoying thing, I mean, I took this whole cluster apart, and this temperature gauge, it just keeps getting stuck, pinned. I don't know what to do with this thing. I bent the, it's getting stuck on the actual edge of the gauge face, and I bent it pretty good, and no matter what, turn on the key and it pegs the temperature needle, and it's just stuck like that. So I have no idea what temperature this car is running. Oil pressure, everything else seems to be good. Definitely a really bad exhaust leak, and so I gotta deal with that. And the carburetor is just weird. But you know, there's vacuum lines unplugged, and there's a lot of sorting out that needs to go on with this thing. But runs pretty good otherwise, so definitely has some potential to be a good runner once we get everything sorted out. So here's another fun thing I just discovered. The fan doesn't turn on its own. It got up to 235. Oh, it's like 230. Now it's back down to 198. If you turn the AC switch on, the fan comes on. But it's not coming on its own, so I don't know if that's related to the check engine light. I'm gonna have to dig into that a little bit. The original carburetor was taken off. A lot of things were left unplugged. Could be something related to that or something different. Maybe the temperature sensor. There's definitely a bunch of things to look into. But once I turn on the fan, you see it's cooling down. So, added to the list of issues. Pretty bad exhaust leak on the Camaro here, and then I was originally thinking about trying to patch it, but the whole system is pretty much shot. There's a really big hole right in the pipe when it comes off the cat, and then there's another hole in that pipe when it bends up over the axle, and the muffler is shot. So I ordered a kit from Summit. It's a catback 3-inch. It's a 3-inch intermediate pipe going into a muffler, and then splits out to a 2.5-inch rear exit. So I'm heading over to Frank's house today. He's kind enough once again to let me use his lift. So we're gonna start heading over there and hopefully get this done. Help.
So this flange will come to here, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we cut this, I know the cat's a mess.
It'd be great if you could just. But this is oval.
Right.
Unless we're able to crush the pipe oval, I don't know, or use the flange. All right, let me just.
That was my dilemma. You see. Yeah. You see the hole here?
Yeah, it's pumping out right there.
That's the giant hole.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my god.
It's like
Just blew it out, yeah.
And then there's a hole back here on the bend.
Okay.
And then the muffler's cracked. There's a hole in the muffler.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe
so I was like, I can't.
Do it, yeah.
I was gonna patch, but I can't patch this.
Because and then when you try to weld it, if it's already thin with the rust,
right,
it'll blow right through it.
Yeah, you can't.
That's 3. It's around 3.5 that way, and then it's like 2.5 that way.
Weird, right?
So I wonder if it's a 3-inch pipe that just when you
That they
squash
flattened
down.
it. Yeah.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's ugly.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. So a 3-inch pipe.
So
with
what do you
the
think
one
we
end
can do?
squashed, you cut it right off.
Now this was a little piece. How, you could bend the big piece just as easily.
Yeah, because it's just you're just doing the tip of it, right?
All right.
Just the tip. Because then we'd be able to cut it.
Yeah. Let's get rid of this whole thing, right?
And you know, the only tricky part will be, of course, just gotta weld it real nice. So let's clean this pipe real good. Get the piece welded on. But you have room to get up top there. Oh yeah. Yahtzee. Squish that down.
This could be long enough.
Is it gonna be?
Probably. Huh? Oh, we could just take a measurement off the cat. So we have this extra angle here, which is sending the pipe all the way to the right of where it needs to be, and we don't know why this angle is here, so we're just gonna cut it off. So we cut off the bend, and Frank here welded it straight. So we still have to weld this piece. Weld that. Right.
All sorts of stuff.
We're doing cool car guy stuff.
Yeah.
When are you gonna come inside?
Come inside. I'm done.
So let's just go over what we did here because I don't know if we got it all. So this pipe is a piece you had of stainless.
Yep.
You crushed it in a vise to fit onto the original Y pipe. This piece we got from Ricky at American Muffler. It's a 2.5-inch piece where he made a ball flange on one end and then he expanded it over here so the 2.5 would fit inside the 3.
Yep.
Then the piece from the kit had a bend in it that was wrong, so we had cut it, weld a straight piece on, clamp it over the axle. Everything just clears close, but it fits. And then we're back here and we just got to put on the tailpipes and hope that fits.
Yeah. Yeah, we tried to have a tailpipe there.
Yeah.
Because when it rotates up, it's the other pipe.
Yeah, that fits.
Yeah.
Stick out a little far.
You can always cut the ends off if you want. What do you want to do?
Yeah, alright.
And this muffler can get moved.
The muffler's a little crooked right now.
Which way?
Tilted down.
Yeah. It's hanging this way, right?
Yeah,
So does this need to go up a little bit?
I guess. Or that could come down.
Come down one notch.
I mean, I guess there's room for it to go up, but if we can bend it up. Thread? Yeah.
got, so it's hanging this way. It's got to bend like down and then back up.
This,
Yeah.
So we're all done here. Got everything tightened up. Ended up with plenty of clearance here. And the muffler is looking straight. We trimmed the tailpipes with an angle. After we cut this piece straight, it fit perfect. Got a ball flange, just the original hanger bracket, and right up to the original Y.
Sounds good. With this car with blow-by and getting smoke coming out of this valve cover breather. It's not hooked to anything. A little smoke coming from the dipstick tube. And then I realized, I said, I wonder if there's a PCV on this car. So I come take a look, and it looks like there is right here. But then I follow the tube, and it's not connected to anything. So I'm wondering if that's my issue with the smoke, and also why I'm getting a fume smell inside the car. I thought it was exhaust leaks. We did the new exhaust system, and I'm still getting the fumes odor. So, man, whoever put this carburetor on, like, just left things undone, and not a great install. Here's another. I don't even know what any of these things are. I haven't had a minute to figure it out. So, going to see if I can connect this and see what happens with the smoke and the fumes. Okay, so I got this hooked up temporarily. I found some 3/8 fuel hose, which is not correct, but it'll do for now. So I ran it from the PCV. I had this little T connector here, which goes to the power brake. So PCV and the brakes are hooked up now. None of the other stuff is yet, but just going to try this out, see how this does. So far looking good, no smoke. stays that way. But today's project is going to be the brakes. The front brakes are completely shot. When you step on the brakes, really bad vibration, and it just really doesn't stop good. I mean, the pads look really low. So I got rotors and pads pretty cheap from Rock Auto. Rotors were maybe about $25 a piece. Pads were probably about $30 for ceramic pads. So I'm gonna try to check that off the list today, get these front brakes done. So when I was in here taking off the brakes, I noticed that the front sway bar bushings are completely gone. And I was getting a plunk from the front, and that would probably explain it. So I got to run out and get some sway bar bushings. Also, gonna try to get some new outer front wheel bearings because I'm not so sure these are any good. I mean, I've never seen a plastic bearing, and these little rollers aren't really, don't seem to be rolling. I mean, it might be fine, but if I can get bearings, put some new ones in. So what was supposed to be a quick brake job turned into pretty much an all-day thing. The sway bar end links really slowed me down. I had to run out and get those. While I was out, I got some new outer wheel bearings, inner grease seals, and man, this sway bar fought me. I had to take it down. I had to take it down from the frame of the car. These bushings were okay, so I left them, but it was just not easy getting all these pieces on, getting it squeezed down so I could get the nuts started. Then I had problems lining up these bolts going back up into the frame of the car. But it's done. Brakes are done, sway bar's done. It was just a real pain in the rear getting that sway bar back on by myself. Anyway, everything should be good now. Like a dope, I left the key on all day, so now I gotta charge the battery. There was some decent life left in these pads. I mean, not totally worn out, but I think they're glazed up, and these rotors are in really bad shape. I mean, they're all pitted. There's grooves worn into them. It's not flat. They look pretty beat. So the new rotors and new pads should do the trick. Had to go to work, so I didn't get a chance to test the brakes, break them in. So I'm going to do that now. Have to check the back brakes out. The brakes are still a little weird. They stop all that great. Playing the e-brake. It's not really doing anything. So I took off the back brake drum, and it really doesn't look too bad. The pads, the shoes, they look pretty good. I see a date on here, it says 2013. I don't know how many miles though. The drums, there's some grooves in the drum, but nothing too deep. They probably could use a resurfacing. But I'm gonna try to adjust everything. The drum came off very easily, so. And also I'm seeing the adjuster down here, this little plate, is supposed to make contact with this wheel. And it's really not. I'm wondering if this spring back here is on backwards, preventing this from touching. I'm not really sure. I haven't really worked on rear brakes in a long time. So I'm gonna see if I can turn that spring around, because this is supposed to self-adjust whenever you back up. And then you push these shoes out wider to keep it properly adjusted. I don't know if that's actually happening. Well, I took it for a ride, and just like I suspected, it does stop a little bit better, but still getting a pulsating, and I'm getting like a crazy like clicking noise from this side. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and place the drums and the shoes, and then hopefully brakes will be all set. So I have my assistant today, Big Nate, over here is helping me out with the drum brakes.
Are yours? Okay.
Yeah. So we took them off, and I think they had them on backwards because they had the primary shoe, which is the smaller braking surface compared to this one. The primary should be on the front side of the car, and the secondary on the rear, and secondary is the bigger one. They had it backwards, so I don't know if that was causing a problem, but we're gonna get it corrected. The way you pull this apart is you take off the main primary springs, this one and this one, and then everything kind of just comes apart after that. There is these little ones here which you have to just turn them, and then they will come out. So we have two shoes. You can see the difference. What do you see?
One is bigger and one is smaller.
Exactly. So the smaller one goes on the front side of the car. The larger one faces the rear side of the car. Okay?
My dad has a lot of little pieces what you can't see in this video.
Here we go.
And the grease.
After the new
This
brakes
whole
go on,
place is the brakes.
Right.
Even in there.
Let's attempt to get this on here.
That's the South Dakota.
Let's see.
Should I turn the
Parking
camera
brake.
soon?
Lever.
The camera turned off again.
It's okay. This goes up here.
Having to
Well, that's what
tighten.
happens when you're working on dirty old cars. Your hands get dirty.
Yeah, this is an old car. It looks pretty clean. I want to show you the car. It looks real clean, but it's actually dirty. My leg's wet. I'm recording. You're definitely gonna waste like crap.
So I think I got everything back together here. I got the smaller shoe on the front, the bigger one on the rear. This was not on correctly, I don't think, before. This little tab that holds the star adjuster. The spring should keep it tight against the star adjuster. I turned the star adjuster out, spread everything out until the drum fit snug, and then I backed it off a little bit. And while I was in here, there was a red overspray, and I just hit it with a little Rust-Oleum flat black. So now we're going to throw this drum on and head over to the other side. So the other day when I changed the rear shoes and the rear drums, and I may have adjusted the adjuster down here a little too much, where the shoes were spread out too much, and I went for about a 10-15 minute drive, and all of a sudden burning smell, puffs of white smoke coming from this passenger side rear wheel, and then I just drove it home real slow, and the brake, you know, it had overheated. It was so hot that I couldn't even touch the lug nuts, trying to take the lug nuts off. They were like scalding hot. The paint already discolored on the drum, and also the springs look discolored. So even though I loosened up this adjuster as far as it could go, I still seem to be getting a slight drag, and this side is getting hotter than the other. So I got a spring kit here. I got a hardware kit, and I'm going to change out all the hardware and try to adjust it properly, which according to the factory manual is tight enough until you can feel a little bit of drag, and then you back it off 30 clicks on the adjuster. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we got all the new hardware and springs on. Everything went on nice and easy. Got it adjusted to where you can just turn it and then back it off 30 notches as the service manual, factory service manual stated. So it put the drum on and see how it turns. It turns nice and easy. Don't feel any drag. There's a slight noise, but as you can see, it really is turning very easily. So I'm gonna go adjust the other side the same way, and we'll give it a test drive, and hopefully this thing doesn't burn up again. Hey guys, so even after everything I did with the back brakes, drove it around, it still felt like it wasn't stopping great. So I decided to bleed the brakes because I thought maybe there was some air in the system. So I did that, and it didn't really make much difference, but I'm just hoping after putting some miles on it, the brakes will maybe break in a little bit better and start grabbing a little bit better. But they work pretty good. It's just I feel like they could stop a little bit better, but at least everything is smooth now, and I'm not getting any more burning from the right rear. So today we're going to see what we can do about this carburetor. There's really nothing actually wrong with it as far as I can tell, but it's just not quite right. It's a Holley 1850. It looks like it has a manual choke, which is just not connected. Okay. There's a bunch of vacuum lines disconnected, hoses, stuff over here. You got this breather tube just open. The fuel line is pinched and really kinked and cracking. That's probably fire waiting to happen. So my friend has a original Quadrajet, electronic Quadrajet from his 86 Monte SS that he took off of his car shortly after he first bought it, which was, you know, back in the early 90s, I think. So it's been sitting in a box ever since. We're gonna throw that on and give it a try and see what happens. Maybe we can even get the cruise control hooked up and working. So they had this adapter plate on here because it's a spread bore manifold, and the Holley is a square bore carburetor. So that's not great. I mean, it's covering a lot of the, it's really covering a lot of the holes in the manifold, so it's got to be a little bit restrictive. You get some Allen sockets for these. Got these Quadrajet hold down bolts from quadrajetpower.com. So I think I got everything all set here. There's a bunch of vacuum lines. I don't know where they go, what they do. So I plugged some of them off. I found this wire here. Appears to be for the electric choke. I stuck that on there. And hooked up the brake vacuum line to a port in the back here. Oh, I made a few rubber hose. I had this metal little short piece of fuel line that was bent at sort of a 90. So it was pretty close to lining up with where they cut the original steel fuel line. So I just put this short connector piece here. If this carburetor ends up working out well, then I will get one of these new reproduction throttle position sensor. It was just laying there, plug that in. Idle mixture solenoid connector was laying there, plug that in. I think that's it. I am going to give it a try. Didn't even step on the gas. Just cranked it and it started. Now I've got a choke light and a check engine light. Let's go check for fuel leaks. Idle is too high. The idle was backed out all the way already. I did find another open vacuum port right in here. Oh, it's even higher. Very strange. Okay, so what I found was, and now it's a little too low. I had to flick this little thing here. The throttle was hung up. Something with the choke. The throttle was hung up. Flicked everything and it kind of reset itself. Same thing again. Something is not right over on the choke side and it's hanging up the throttle. So here's my theory so far. I think there's a problem with the choke. There may be other problems, but I know there's a problem with the choke. The choke is not fully opening, which I think is why it's staying on high idle. And I put a voltmeter on the choke connection right here, and we're going to start up the car and see if we should be getting 12 volts with the car running. So let's go try that. So here's the deal. I don't understand what's going on. So what happens is when the factory choke wire is hooked up, I'm getting about 1 volt at the connection to the electric choke. When I take the connector off and probe it, I'm getting 14 volts. And then this happens. So definitely problems here. I don't even know where to begin. Alright, so here's the deal, guys. Really just could not get this Quadrajet to work right. I've been playing around with it for hours. It's very hard to get it to idle smoothly. The car keeps stalling. After playing with the idle mixture screws, the idle adjustment, I can get it to idle and then turn the car off, come back an hour later, whatever, 2 hours later, 30 minutes later, try to start the car, doesn't want to idle, keeps dying. I think there's a vacuum leak somewhere. I couldn't figure out where. I plugged off all the ports, still had the problem. I was spraying carb cleaner. The only place that changed the idle and actually brought the idle up was when I sprayed down on this corner area here. But I mean, the gasket looks fine. I don't see anything glaring as to why it would have a vacuum leak there. And I'm just really not into taking this thing all apart again and trying to reseal it. These electronic quadrajets are pretty complicated for people like me who don't really know how they work and how to work on them. I mean, mechanically on it, everything looks fine to me, but who knows what's going on. There's electronic mixture control. I don't know if this idle compensator thing here, this idle mixture adjustment is set right. I just really don't want to waste hours on this. I thought, you know, if I put this Q-Jet on and it worked straight out of the box, great, so be it. But it doesn't. So for now, I'm just going to go back to the Holly that was on there, the 1850. I trimmed up the gasket a little bit because the way they had this gasket, it was a square gasket, and with this adapter, this spread bore intake adapter, it was just pretty much blocking off most of the airflow. So I trimmed the gasket, got it trimmed out as best I could for now. I think what the plan is going to be going forward is just, like I said, put the Holly back on. The distributor on the car is still hooked up to the computer. I don't know if the Advance is working at all. So I think I'm just going to take it old school. This car is, you know, it's not a show car or anything. I'll probably save the pieces in case I sell it and anyone ever wants to bring it back to original. I will keep the pieces, but I'm going to remove all of these tubes, these emissions things. The EGR was already removed by somebody. I think I'm going to get a Edelbrock intake. I was looking at the Performer EPS. I don't really know much about them, but it seems like people like them. Pretty reasonable price. And Summit has a distributor, just a regular HEI distributor. It's $100. Seems to have good reviews. I just want this car to run like decently. I'm not looking for anything crazy here, but it's just been frustrating. So today I'm attempting to change this drip edge on the T-top because it's torn and worn and hanging too low and hits the door glass. Door glass hits it and you try to shut the door. So there's 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws and then a Torx screw to remove the locking handle. And it looks like 2 more screws for the rubber seal. So after you get the 2 screws out, then start prying out the rubber seal. Now there's 4 more screws. It looks like the drip edge is stuck onto this metal piece. So I had to look up which side was which because it doesn't clearly state which side is which. So the 4030 is the driver's side, and the 4031 is the passenger side. These are made by Fairchild, and I got them at Rock Auto. And the other little confusing thing is there's these little There's little studs sticking out here. These little tabs, I don't know what they are, what they're supposed to do, but they don't seem to fit the original setup because there's nowhere for them to go. So I'm guessing I have to cut those off, but I don't know why they would be there. Very strange. I scraped off the remaining glue with this little mini pry bar I have, and that got it pretty good, but then just for extra good measure, I have this this decal remover that goes on the drill, and what's good about it is it removes adhesive tape and glue and stuff like that, but it won't damage any paint. Not that it really matters over here because you won't see this, but I've used it on the car to remove double-sided tape from old moldings and stickers and stuff. So yeah, I recommend those. This is not even the 3M brand, it's just a generic one, but works just as good as far as I can tell. Cut off those two little niblets with a hacksaw blade. Double-sided tape goes down on this edge. So this trim piece has always been noisy driving around in the car, and I think it might be rubbing on the edge here. This meets this, so I'm gonna put a little double-sided tape over here where this touches this as a cushion, and also this is broken here, which is not allowing the screw to clamp it down, so I found a little washer that will fit and help hold that part down. So we're going to try that out and see if it quiets it down. So I'm not actually going to tape this down at this point. I'm just putting this on as a cushion. I mean, if it still squeaks, then maybe I'll remove the backing and have it taped to both sides, but I'm going to try just like this for now. Putting this back together is just the reverse of how you took it apart. It's pretty easy. Just make sure this piece is tucked into the groove. There's a groove, there's a channel on the top and the bottom where it needs to be tucked into. So now we can shut the door without the door glass catching on the drip edge. Radio upgrade, or maybe some people might consider it a downgrade, but there was this aftermarket Pioneer radio in here with like one knob on it, and I could not figure out how to get it to work, and I didn't even really care to. So this radio I didn't even know if it worked, but I plugged it in and it works. It was playing pretty good, and then I realized with the rear fader there was no sound coming from the back. So then I took off the speaker cover, and what do you know? No speakers. So that would explain that. So I got to get some rear speakers. I think they're 6x9. And then I had no idea how to set the clock on this, but then I just looked in one of my old service manuals, and it said you pull out the scan to change the hour, and you pull out the seek to change the minute. And what do you know? It works. It was missing the little side brackets, and I found these brackets that I must have made at some point. I don't know for what, but they don't really quite fit so great, so I'm gonna have to trim it or redo it, figure something out to get this thing screwed in properly. But at least I have a working radio. So since the radio since the radio was missing the side brackets to screw it into the dashboard, I had to make my own. These little brackets here look quick and easy, but probably spent about 2 hours making them, remaking them, drilling them, re-drilling them until I finally got them to fit. So now the radio's in. This plate's gonna go here. I got my new used console from eBay, since this one's cracked up on both sides. And I'm going to open that up soon and check that out. Sounds like the front speakers are shot too. Never seen so much newspaper packed into one box. But I guess it was good packing. Everything looks like it arrived in one piece. A little dirty, but it should clean up, hopefully. Found these 6x9 replacement speakers on eBay. They were, I think, $40, including shipping for the pair. Should be fine with the stock radio. Nothing fancy. Just need some music. The original speaker connectors were still here, so I just made up these little pigtails. So these short wires to plug into the original connector and connect to the new speaker. Came with screws which seem to fit right into the holes that are already in the car, so shouldn't be too bad to get these in. And driver's side is done. And passenger side done. Let's test it out. Not the best thing I've ever heard, but at least I have some tunes now. So now I'm changing out the console top because it's cracked over here and over here. And I got a new top, and this shifter ball is a little tricky to remove. So turns out you have to first take out the button that's in the center of the shifter, and it's just wedged in there, and I was trying to pull it and I couldn't really get a grip on it because there's not much to grab. So I found this piece of metal and I was able to get in there and get around and kind of work it out. And now there's a snap ring down in here. I don't know if this will focus, but the ends of a snap ring down there. So I have to get my snap ring pliers and see if I can even get in there. And that should release the ball. The snap ring pliers that I have are not long enough to reach down into this narrow little spot. So I ended up using a screwdriver to pry apart the ends of the snap ring, and then I used a pick to lift it up. So it looks like we're off now. I cleaned up the console that I bought. It's in about the same condition as the one that was in the car, except it's not all cracked up. It's just kind of fair condition. The button here in the middle for the hatch release, I had the tabs all broken and it was loose. So I put some double-sided tape on the back. Hopefully that will hold it in place. And now I'm just going to start putting the new one in. I got a seatbelt button replacement kit, and this is how it comes. I got it at Hawks, the third Hawks Motorsports, whatever. So the original button is all faded, and it's on there like this. What I did was I just took a butter knife. I saw somebody else do this on YouTube. That's where I got the idea. And you just pry up from each side, and the old button pops off. Remove the old spring that's underneath this
this part stays, and then you just you get your new spring, and you got to get it under this piece. There's two little bumps right down under there that the spring sits on, and it goes in between the metal underneath and this piece. I used the butter knife to squeeze that down in there, and then, as you can see, I did this one already. You just snap the new button on. Now it actually works, because this one was missing the actual button, and the spring was halfway out and it wasn't working, but now it's working. So this is how things go sometimes. The first one I did, I got that spring popped in like 3 seconds. Easy. Second one took me like fighting with it for like 10 minutes, but that's how it looks when it's installed. Now we pop the cap on, if I can find it. Here's the cap, and it goes on this way. The part that has the flat faces towards the middle, like that. The last piece they give you is these little guide clips, and I'm not really sure what they do, but they kind of just pop on the back here, and I don't know, I don't really like the way they fit. Like, I can't get it to fit flush all the way down, and I don't really know the purpose, because the original setup did not have that. So not really so sure about this right now, if I'm going to keep these or not. But that's how it looks when it's done. One tip about doing the front seatbelt buttons, I was having a really hard time getting this button to clip onto here, and then what I realized is if you put the knife in between there and pry that away a little bit from the edge of the buckle, it does snap on a lot easier. So the next fun surprise on the Camaro is a sheared off seat mounting stud. That one's still there. That one is now permanently part of this nut. I was taking the seat out to get the little section that was torn patched, and all these seat studs were rusty pretty bad, so I was spraying them with the penetrant, the PB Blaster. Got them all off eventually, except for this one, so now I have to deal with this. So I'm gonna just take this seatbelt retractor bolt out and pull back the carpet and see what's going on. So I was gonna see if I could just drill out the sheared off stud and just send a bolt from underneath the car through the floor, through that hole, but it's over a bend. This area is where the floor bends up. It's like a 45-degree angle here, so I don't know how that's really gonna work if I can't get a bolt to come straight up through the bottom. So I might just drill through this broken stud and use a smaller diameter bolt. I don't really know what else I can do here. This brace is part of the floor of the car, so I can't really get into it or under it without major work. Well, I gotta tell you, I feel really dumb having these problems with the brakes not working for months, and I'm going crazy, adjusting brakes, bleeding over and over. I even replaced the master now, and then it occurred to me, actually,
was looking on thirdgen.org. Somebody else posted about a brake booster problem. So I was starting to think, well, maybe the booster's no good. And then it occurred to me, the PCV was teed into the line that goes to the brake booster, the vacuum line. And I'm the one who did this because when I bought the car, this was just disconnected and I was getting smoke out of the breather. So then I connected it basically to test if that was the issue, and then the smoke stopped, but then I never put it the right way. I never fixed it. So the check valve for the brakes is all the way over here. So I was losing tons of vacuum, I guess, into the PCV valve, which is also a check valve, but I guess you just can't have anything else pulling off of that same line because then you're not getting enough vacuum to the booster itself. So that was a really dumb move by me, but I just, disconnected it, capped it. I just drove back and forth because I'm kind of blocked into the driveway here, but I could tell already the brakes are working so much better. They actually work. This carburetor only has one large port over here for vacuum. And the manifold has a port right here for vacuum, but it's being used. It's going to this, which I think goes to the heating system. I'm not sure. There's no other place to hook the PCV. Yes.
Hi, I'm Linda.
Oh, hi. Okay. So I do have to figure out exactly where. So I do have to figure out how to connect both the PCV and the brakes, but at least I have brakes now, so I'll figure that out later. So when I turned on the blower motor, I had a little bit of a humming noise and really no air coming through. So I ordered a new blower motor, thinking it was bad, but then not thinking that, oh, maybe somebody made a huge nest inside the heater AC box. So that was full, and this was all full in here. So I'm just opening it up and gonna get the old vacuum in there, clean it out. The motor might be good, but since I got a new one, I'm just gonna put the new one in anyway. I'll save this one as a spare, I guess. Blower's working. A lot of dust coming out. Man, wow. Seems like everything's working. Nice strong flow. Strong airflow. All the vents working. Okay, cool. Running smooth today. Pretty good. It's getting warm now. It's kind of lukewarm, but the car's just idling. It's not really warmed up very much right now. It's kind of chilly out today, so. But it's a good sign that it's somewhat warm. It's not a good sign. There's coolant dripping down here. I'm betting on a heater core. What else could it be? Of course, that would be the hardest thing to fix. That would be the hardest thing to fix on the entire cooling system. So, sure, why not? So I did tighten on those two heater hose clamps back there. They were a little loose, not bad. Started it back up again, and I'm not seeing the drip, so could it be that I got lucky this time? I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see. I'm out here, I'm gonna do a little cleaning on the Camaro. Have some work I want to do on the engine soon, and I never got around to cleaning it since I bought it, so it's pretty dirty and greasy. So I got this engine degreaser, got my power washer, and it's nothing too bad, so I don't think I'm going to destroy my street or anything, but we just gonna do a little cleaning, a little fall cleanup.
bit better. This seems to be a common issue with third-gen Camaros, where pins or doesn't work, or what mine is doing is it's reading about 2 times the actual RPMs. Right now the car is idling and it's saying 1500, so the tach really should be reading about 750, 800. So I think I have a solution, and we're going to give that a try now. You have to remove all the Torx bit screws that hold this plastic cover over the gauges. Next are these little screws, which are 7/32 size. Then you can remove this black bezel piece. There's 3 tachometer mounting screws. Well, actually there's 1, 2. This one already came out. Maybe when I took the bezel out. The other thing is I have the most annoying problem that's been going on with this temperature gauge ever since I bought this car. This would be like the 3rd or 4th time probably that it got stuck pinned like this. And I've tried everything. I've tried bending the edge of the gauge face down. I've tried bending it up. No matter what you do, the needle somehow jumps past it. I mean, it looks like it can't. See, when you flick it, it hits the edge, but somehow it jumps the edge all the time. Super annoying. If anybody knows what to do about that, besides getting another gauge, I guess is the answer, shoot me a comment. So at this point, you just grab the tachometer. It just comes right out. So the instructions are saying on the back, the circuit board, you have to remove the circuit board nuts and the resistor 1/4 inch, but I found what I have is actually 5/16 size. Apparently I gotta remove the oil gauge nuts too. Wasn't quite clear.
What are you doing?
Okay, now we've got it to where they have it. Okay. What about these little washers? Doesn't really mention those. Guess they're not needed. Maybe they are. Tack on this side. Suppose it goes like this.
Wheel.
Okay, so now I'm just going to put these little washers back on. It does not mention them, but I guess it can't hurt, hopefully. So I've got all of the nuts hand tight down on the new circuit board. So now we just have to put it back in the car the way we took it out, and we're going to test it out before we put all the bezels and everything. Just popped it back in. Now we're going to test it out. And there you go. As you can see before, we were up about 1500, a little more. Now we're right between 10 and 5, which is probably about 750. So it worked. So Cajun Tack Shop. Definitely recommend this. It's a pretty inexpensive and quick and easy fix. By the time I put this all back together, this whole job will be
less than 30 minutes, and I'm really slow, as you guys know. It is Nowhere Fast Garage after all. Welcome back to Nowhere Fast Garage. Today I'm in the garage with the 84 Camaro Z28 and checking out the transmission fluid leak. It's not a big leak, but I do notice every time you start the car and pull it out of the driveway, it'll leave a drop of, like a quarter-sized drop of transmission oil every 8 or 10 feet. And then it seems to slow down, and then when you shut the car off, it doesn't really drip, which is usually the opposite of, that's the opposite of what I usually see with transmission oil leaks. Usually they leak after the car's off and been sitting. But I finally got to go under here. I'll show you what I found. I don't think it's going to be very difficult to fix, but you know how that goes. So it's pretty wet everywhere, all around the bottom of the transmission. I did see by this manual shift shaft, let me see, right here. This is what controls what gear you're in: park, reverse, neutral, drive, and it does seem it's a little damp up there, but I'm not really sure. I think what I'm gonna have to do is run the car and see if I can see anything dripping while it's running. I did take off this cover. This torque converter has a plastic cover, 4 screws. It comes off. And luckily it looks dry. So I was worried it might have been the front transmission seal, which is a pain because you have to take the transmission out and the torque converter out to get to that seal. I don't see anything on the front pump of the transmission that looks like it's dripping. So it's kind of all around the pan. So I'm thinking, you know, possibly this shifter seal, but it might just be the pan gasket, or who knows. These transmission pan bolts might even be loose and they just need to be torqued. So I guess I'll check that first. Trans fluid is kind of dark, and not knowing the history on it, I'm not going to risk putting fresh fluid in. So let's see. It smells okay, not the worst. So I got a new bin here to catch the fluid. I'm going to try to drain it and hopefully reuse it. See how it looks once I get it down. Fluid is spent. It's pretty dirty, lots of clutch material, sediment, but I'm just putting it back in. I know there's all kinds of theories about putting new transmission fluid in old transmissions. I don't know the history on this. I don't know if it's ever been serviced before. So personally, 2 times in the past I've put new fluid in an old transmission with no history of service records, no service history, and they started slipping. And then people will say, well, you know, if it does that, it means there was something wrong with it in the first place. And that's probably true, but I just don't feel like paying for a complete rebuild on this transmission right now if I don't have to, if I can get another year or 2 or who knows how long out of it. So I'm going to
I'm gonna pour it right back in through a screen, through a mesh to catch any chunks, but otherwise it's gonna go back in as is. I just gotta clean up this pan, clean up the bottom of the transmission. This gasket is pretty much cooked on here. Some spots I'm gonna have to scrape. Got the pan cleaned up nice and the bolts. So I'm gonna start putting everything back together now. This is why I can never be paid to be a mechanic, because I'm just too damn slow. It's like all day trying to get this back together. One of the trans pan bolts were missing. So I went down to the hardware store, and it's a metric 8 1.25 course, I believe it was. So we can replace the missing one. Pan is all torqued down. I don't know the exact torque figures for these screws, but I did find something that I had that said oil pan bolts 88 inch-pounds. So I did the same for this on the inch-pound torque wrench. Hopefully that's enough. And this is some operation I've got here. I poured the fluid from the bin into a bucket, and then the bucket is going to go through a piece of window screen to catch any larger chunks, and that's how it's getting back into the transmission. Definitely caught some stuff in the screen. So next morning, cleaned everything up, put the fluid back in, saw that part already. Had the car parked out in the driveway overnight, and so far no drips. Everything's looking dry. This looks like it was the pan gasket. I mean, as you can see, once I removed the pan, that the gasket was just pretty much cooked on there. I don't know if it was original or not, but it wasn't soft, it wasn't rubbery anymore. It was just dried, hard, cracked, brittle. So I think that was it. And so here we are, dealing with brake issues once more. Seems to just never go away. It's been about a year since this all started, at least since I became aware of it, and it's still not right. So a couple of weeks ago, took the Camaro to go see a car show with my daughter, and when we got back, smoke was coming off of the right rear wheel again, and it was really boiling hot. So took off the drum, tons of brake dust. I backed the adjuster off really far, drove it around the block, and went from cold to hot right away. So something's dragging, even though it doesn't feel like it. The only other thing that I'm thinking it could be is in there is the emergency brake cable, and it looks like the clip that holds it in place is broken or loose, so it's loose. So I'm guessing maybe that could be hanging up the e-brake. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace it anyway. So I got a new cable, and hopefully this clip will hold it secure. So I'm just gonna go under there and see how to undo this cable. So all the brakes have to come off to get to the e-brake connection with the cable. I have some of these brake specific tools, but you really don't need any of them. I mean, like these things, you can this is to remove these springs. You could really just use some pliers like this, and same with the retractor springs. You could use you know, some regular pliers just to grab it and take everything off. You don't need any special tools. That's one way to do it. This is all broken. It's definitely a little tricky to get to. Cable clips in over here under the floor, and then up here it attaches to the center cable that goes up to the e-brake handle inside the car. So you can see on the far side, which is the driver's side, the cable looks loose, no tension. But then the passenger side cable looks tight. Maybe this is why it's dragging. So I had to drop the rear end down to get the drive shaft down out of the way because it was blocking access, but I still don't have great access. I guess really I gotta get this clip out first. This one here. So I have to try to loosen this up somehow. If I can get it off of here, maybe. There we go. Let's see if that gives me enough slack. All right. Got it loose. The jack is perfectly positioned to block me from getting to this little clip. Will not come out. Will not come out. It's always like one thing that's gonna just snag you and keep you from getting anything done in any kind of reasonable amount of time. At least that's me. I don't know about you. That's what always happens for me. I just don't understand. Help me to understand what is happening here. Oh, I see. One of the dumb tabs is completely folded out. Let's see if I can rotate it. Is it gonna let us rotate it? Probably not. Why would it? Why would it? Rotate, you bastard. One of the little tabs that holds it in place is completely folded out, and that's why it won't come out. But there's a little keyway. If I can rotate it, it should slip right out, but I don't want to do that either. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. See this one little piece of crap tab is trying to ruin my whole day. Well, it did not succeed. It did not succeed. I won this one. So the new cable appears to be the same as the old cable. It's an AC Delco brand. I got it from Rock Auto. It was, with the shipping and everything, it was maybe about, I don't know, $16, $17 approximately. So we're gonna feed this through. Yes. Very hard to get a grip. Everything's in the way, mainly the jack. It's really fun when you don't have a lift and you need to do this kind of stuff on your car. Let's see what I'm dealing with here. Getting that back through the hole. There we go. Snapped in like a dream. Hook it around this little guide hook. And we'll send it back over here. Above the rear control arm. And we'll put our little bracket 10mm screw that goes to the rear subframe of the car. Now we are going to attempt to get this cable back onto the center cable. Might have to adjust this center bolt if we find that there's tension on this. Okay, so now we're locked in here. I mean, there still is a little bit of movement, but it's way better than it was before. There's no doubt this cable is too tight, even the new one. I mean, maybe the other cable was broken, but maybe actually it didn't matter. Maybe it was just adjusted too tight. But, you know, the other side was loose, so it doesn't really make sense to me how that would happen. But, you know, anything can happen, I guess. And that's backwards. Try again. This would be the correct way. Top, bottom. Connects on the bottom. Perfect. So it should come as no big surprise that this has turned out to another complete disaster. So when I went to go put the e-brake cable back, connect it to the rear e-brake cables, and then you have one from the front, and there's a bracket that they both hook onto. And so this new cable back here was way tighter than the one I took off. So I had to back off the adjusting nut, and the way they have it is it's blocked by the drive shaft, the exhaust pipe, the torque arm, so you can't barely get your hands in there. So I use this wrench, you know, going about a 1/16th of a turn at a time. Spent about 45 minutes backing off that adjuster nut. And I was able to get the cable hooked on, but once you tuck it up into its little guide up in the tunnel, I feel it's still too tight. This, you know, the emergency brake is off, and there's still tension on the cable. So I'm just gonna keep working at it. After wrenching on that adjustment nut for about an hour, I finally got the tension off of this brake cable, and the other side cable has about at least an inch of slack before it actually engages. So none of this is going to work right, even though I put it back together. Okay, so here's the deal. Put it all back together, started it up, This was prior to this. This was half an hour ago. Still getting a lot, even though this wheel was adjusted all the way, the brakes were adjusted as loose as could be. Run the car and drive it idle. This wheel would not turn. It would slowly turn and stop. If I pushed it, it would turn a few turns and it would stop. I even brought up the idle. The other side, spinning fast. This side, stopped. So, I know I said I wasn't going to be taking this apart again unless I was getting disc brakes, but I saved the old brake shoes that were on the car. 1 year ago, I changed these brake shoes. I don't even remember why. The brakes, yeah, I know why. The brakes sucked, they weren't working. The rear had aluminum, the original aluminum drums, and the linings were worn down to nothing, cracked. So that's when I got new shoes, new drums. I have a feeling the shoes that I bought, Bendix, I think it was a bent or defective brake shoe because I put the old shoes on this side, adjusted it up, and as you can see, spinning very freely now. So I'm gonna let it spin for a while, see if it gets hot. If it doesn't, that's the fix. It's just been an unbelievable roundabout way to get here. I'm still not convinced, but I'm feeling optimistic for once. Don't think it had anything to do with the e-brake cable, but I still think I need a cable for the other side so I have a working e-brake, but that's another project for another day. So let it run and spin for about 10 minutes. Cool to the touch, like it should be. I think we're good. Still want to get it out on the road, do a real test, but so far looking very good. So these are the old shoes that I believe are somehow defective. Could be slightly bent, slightly tweaked, misformed, who knows. But thinking back, it was immediately after I put those on and put the new drums on, I had this problem. And I switched drums side to side, and it would always get hot on this side, so I knew it wasn't the drum. So I'm putting the new AC compressor on. Oh yeah, I got this AC compressor from Amazon. It was like $185, something like that, brand new, 4 seasons. So there was this pressure switch, some kind of a switch on the old one. The new one, I just had a plug. Oh, here it is. Just kind of went flying off. So I had to use the snap ring pliers to get the snap ring off, and then on the old one, same deal. And I had to, I hit it with a it was stuck, so I kind of just gave it a few taps, and then it loosened up, came out. This one, to my surprise, when I undid the snap ring, and it was kind of just hanging there, and then I pried it out with a screwdriver, and it shot out. Also, these brackets had to transfer over from the old one to the new one. Just getting ready to throw it on. So as per the usual course of events, we hit another snag. So I got the compressor, the new compressor on, and unfortunately the pulley is a smaller diameter on the new one versus the old one. So even when you pull it all the way to the furthest adjustment, the belt is just a little too loose. So I'm gonna have to get a shorter belt, which is pretty annoying. And then the other thing I'm doing is I bought a new orifice valve filter, whatever you call it, because with that old compressor sounding so bad, I didn't know if it was sending a lot of crap throughout the system. Figured I would, while it's all apart, take out the orifice valve. So I guessed it was here, and I was right. This connection, real pain in the neck getting this undone. There's no room to get a big wrench in there. You've got all this, whatever this crap is in the way. But after struggling for a long time, I finally got it apart. And we can hopefully get this out without destroying it. Here we go. Come on.
wow, that looks really bad. Wow. Okay, so there was a lot of junk flowing through this system. That's bad. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, so the right way to do this is to liquid flush the whole AC system, which I don't know. I don't know how to do that, so I'm gonna have to look into that, because it looks like everything is full of crud, and if I leave it that way, it's probably gonna kill the new compressor. So okay, I have to go and look into that next. So here's what we're up to next. So I undid the high pressure line. Looked very clean inside. I undid this line. It looked very clean inside. I undid this. Everything looked very clean. So what I did was I took some brake clean and I sprayed it into that line, which was where the orifice tube was, which where I saw all the crud. And I was spraying the brake clean in, and I was expecting it to roll back out, but it didn't. So then I sprayed some compressed air into the line that runs back that way, and then a whole bunch of crud came out.
Yeah.
And I guess this is oil that was in the system.
Let me check.
Rusty substance, I don't know. So I'm gonna keep blowing that out until it's dry, I guess, and then please don't go into the car. Making a big mess all over the place, and then we'll just gonna put it all back together. So right after I shut the camera off, I did manage to get this back in. What I had to do is I had loosened this screw to loosen up the band clamp thing, and it just wasn't giving me the right amount of movement, so I had to take the screw completely out. Then I was able to thread that nut and get it all tightened. I put the new O-rings on every connection that I opened. So here, this pipe down there, and of course on the compressor. So now I've got my Super Poor Man's vacuum pump, which I have used in the past with success. So it runs off an air compressor, so you put your air line in, and it ends up drawing a vacuum, and should be enough or close enough. You know, you want to get this sound, they say, down to like 30 inches of vacuum. I mean, hopefully we get pretty close. I think it gets down to maybe like 25, somewhere around there. And then it's also a good test when you shut it off. You can see if, you know, you let it sit for a couple of hours, and if the vacuum holds steady, doesn't leak out, then you know you have a good chance of not having some really terrible leaks. So anyway, I'm gonna put the compressor on now and let this run for I don't know, I think it's supposed to be like 20 minutes or something. Well, let's sit overnight, see how it holds up, and if all is good tomorrow, we will charge it up, see how it goes. Okay, so it's the next day, and I'm just gonna check out the vacuum situation here. So it's still on 25. It's pretty much where it was last night, 25, 26. So looking good, I would say. You know, probably no leaks. Okay, so I get everything all put back together in the Camaro. Charged up the system with 3 cans of R134A 12-ounce cans. I didn't show that part because I just did the same job on my Cutlass. So I'll put a link, go to my other video on the Cutlass that goes through the whole charging procedure. It was exactly the same on the Camaro. And just driving it around, So this is something I've been really putting off for a very long time because honestly, who feels like dealing with T-top seals, right? Not fun. But they've been leaking and it's only gotten worse. I think the problem is under the center bar here. Water's getting under here and it's coming down in the center. Well, at least it doesn't look too rusty. So definitely signs of water getting under here. And to me that looks like water was swirling around going right in that hole. This thing looks okay, it's not too bad. So just to try to prevent more rust from coming up in the future, I got this Rust-Oleum Sunrise Red, and it's actually a pretty good match to the car. I mean, I don't think you can get much closer than that with a random generic color. So anyway, brushed it on all the areas where it was like primer showing or bare metal. I did one coat. At first I was trying to use the 1/4 inch butyl tape, this stuff here, because I figured to seal up the center bar, if I ever had to take it off again, it's a pain, but you can definitely peel that stuff off. But what happened was, when I tried to put it down to get it compressed flat, this stuff is just too thick and I just felt like I couldn't get it flush. So I took that off and now I'm using the polyurethane sealant to seal the areas underneath the center bar. You know, this is where the factory had that square sealing pad which wasn't really working anymore. So I just did it around the screw holes and front and back sections. This should theoretically keep any water from getting underneath the center bar, which was where I think I was getting a lot of leaks. So I'm going to put this on now. Put the 4 center screws down. 2 up here, 2 back here, and you can see the polyurethane sealant oozing out, which is just what we want to see. So that's going to be all sealed up. There's a little bit of a gap here, which we will put some more sealant, stuff it under there to fill that in. So I went out and they didn't have the 3M at AutoZone, so I got the Permatex Super Black weather strip adhesive. So we're going to be putting this in the outer channel. So should do for the top areas. I'm using the butyl tape to fill in the gap in the corner. Filled in this front corner because there's like a gap right there. You could see right into the car, so that was sure to leak. I don't even know how this is going to work out. This is just like a weird corner over here. there's really nowhere for the water to go. I guess the idea was to just come through here and then come to the outside. And the other issue is, well, I guess it's an issue, but it's an issue I'm having. Getting these T-tops back on. This new stuff is very, you know, big. Doesn't want to, like, I couldn't get the handle all the way to close. Like, I had to loosen the little sockets on each side that the locking bars go into. And still, it's like you really got to push down on these tops to get it to lock down. We got a leak up here in the corner. Dripping on the seat. Back seems okay. Maybe. The center seems okay. And we got one on this side too. Okay, so here's the deal. Had a lot of leaks the other day when I first checked it. So since then, I put some urethane sealer across here where this trim piece meets the glass. It seemed like there was a gap under there, so I ran a bead of urethane across to seal that up. And it was dripping in from the bolts where the hinges for the rear hatch glass go through inside the car. So I smeared it was hard to get in here, but I smeared a little sealer up in there too. And we had like a normal rain the other night. It was a lot though. It was like a half an inch and everything was dry. So I thought I was good, but then early this morning we had a torrential, really bad downpour. So after that, the passenger side was still all dry, but I got a pretty good drip over here, the driver's side. Seat here and all down here. It's still damp. A pretty good drip coming, and you could see the water was like dripping out of the edge of the plastic trim of the bottom of the T-top. So this side I had already done the urethane last year, but I noticed there was a gap over here in the corner and on the side where the glass meets this edge on the side over here too. So I urethane that earlier today. So hopefully we're just narrowing down where the leaks are. We're down to like the last one, it seems, here. So doing some boring kind of work, but something that I've been meaning to do for a long time. Look at this holly bracket, and this will go in place of the factory one. This bracket attaches to the throttle on the Holly carburetor. Next issue is there's this little locating tab right here, and that will keep this whole bracket from spinning, right? But of course this carburetor doesn't have a slot, so I'm gonna have to drill a hole there as the slot. All right, so we got everything back together. Got the new bracket on. It's got the nice little peg that this fits on good. This may need to be adjusted. I have to check that out. So, just checking out the cable adjustment. I didn't really adjust anything. I just put it on wherever it was. So far, it seems pretty good. Just driving around town. You know, I've been having some issues with the transmission, shifting a little soft, especially the 2-3. The clutches on it are basically shot, so I'm just trying to prolong it and see if I can get it a little bit better before dropping a couple of grand on a rebuilt transmission. So today we're going to be trying out this Lucas stop slip. The concept with the way this works is that it's a viscous fluid, it's thick. So by adding it to your transmission, it's going to increase the line pressure, which is going to help with problems such as slipping clutches. Do a test drive and see what happens. Well, that seems better. That 2-3 shift was definitely better than before. This is the best this car has ever shifted. Not even close. Got an exhaust leak in one of these exhaust manifold tubes. Big hole right here. So what I'm doing now is I'm removing, there's a tube for each cylinder, I guess. So I was able to loosen some of them with the where are they? The fitting wrench, but some of them are just very impossible, like this one down here, to get to. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the tubes off, and then maybe I can get those fittings out with a socket. So my temporary solution is to just pinch these things shut and then fold them over on each other. I can't get these out, and you know, the whole manifold would probably have to come out. So much for that. So after trying everything I could to get that one off, it just wasn't happening. I ended up getting this one off, and then I was able to just in a vise I was able to bend the pipe, what was left of it, in on itself. So I ended up getting out my crappy welder, and I just booger welded the snot out of this one here. It took about 10 passes, but it's all sealed up now. So we're good to go for now. We got those broken pipes off, no more exhaust leaks. And it's running pretty good, but I just want to clean up a few more things in the engine compartment. Factory computer is only controlling the timing and really not doing much else at this point. So I want to unplug the computer wiring harness, just get a standalone distributor put in there. It needs a water pump because it's making a noise, so I got a new water pump, and it needs valve cover gaskets. I'm leaking oil, so I figured might as well just take care of these things all at once. If I got to drain the coolant, it's going to start taking things apart. Some about an hour and a half later, the water pump's just about ready to come out. It's annoying the way they have this because every accessory is bolted on top of the water pump. So you got to remove all the belts, move the alternator, you got to loosen the AC compressor to get the belt off, and you got to loosen 4 bolts on the power steering pump to move that. Lower hose clamp, this one here, the screw snapped. I'm trying to loosen it. The other one on the water pump end came off. I got the intake off and everything looking pretty good in here, pretty clean. It's got like 95,000 miles, so looks like it has been pretty well maintained. So now I'm trying to get rid of the computer harness situation. So there were some things plugged in on this side. Yeah, this stuff was plugged in over here. This is like, I think like the map sensor and some other connector. And this is for the electronic spark control for the distributor, which is this. So got these out. And that connects to this right here. So I'm gonna work my way back and tracing it all the way back to here where it comes through from the ECM, the inside of the car. To undo the harness, I also had to get under the car to remove the transmission connection, which is for the lockup. And also on the back of the head, there was a bolt that was holding a ground wire. And then also this was going to the knock sensor, which is kind of down below the motor mount. So I had to get under there. Now I have this inner fender pulled back. Looks like somebody's been living in there. Anyway, this is the bulkhead connector. So this was an interesting turn of events. Turns out this was not a harness that could be removed. This was just a pass-through. So this doesn't come apart. So what I have to do is go inside and remove the kick panel, and then it reveals the ECM, right? So unplug those 2 connectors, and then there was a U-clip that you slide out, and then that's the pass-through hole back there. Passed everything through. Now I got a hole, so I got to cover up the hole. Got the valve covers off, cleaned up all around the heads. I cleaned up this area and the front of the block. So this is the intake I got for it. It's the Edelbrock Performer EPS, which is a low rise, kind of like the Performer, and it's supposed to make a little bit more power than the standard Performer. So this is for 86 and down Chevy small block. So everything looks like it fits, and we got the Ultra Black RTV, and I'm going to start with the gaskets. I did a little smear around the water passages, and then the gaskets will go on dry otherwise. Did the bead along the back and front, overlapping up onto the gasket about a ½ inch. So intake should be ready to go on now. Alright, so I got the intake on. Torqued the bolts to 30 foot-pounds. Tried to do a small bead around, trying not to make a big mess. and then I'm going to put the gasket on here and let these dry up for a little while before I put them on the car. And then when I go to actually install them, I'm not going to use any sealant between the gasket and the head. It'll just be between the valve cover and the gasket. The valve covers are on, and torque the nuts down to 45 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. So the new distributor is from Summit. It's just a standard HEI replacement distributor, and I haven't done this in a very long time, but when I removed the distributor out of the car, I had the engine top dead center, at least what I believe to be. So if I can get this one to drop in and have the rotor pointing towards the number one direction, you know, the direction of the number one spark plug, it should be good. Okay, there we go. Now this is pointing pretty much where I wanted it to. Put the water pump on, thread sealant on all four of the water pump bolts. The pulley here for the water pump, thread locker blue on those bolts. I've got the heater hoses on. I've got the upper radiator hose on. I didn't get the lower one on yet. I've got all of the belts back on. Everything is tightened up. I've got all of the spark plug wires routed, hopefully to the correct spots on the distributor cap. Started putting the wiring back like this. I just have to clip this in. The other side is done. Got the wire plugged in for the temperature switch for the fan. Got the carburetor on. Linkages hooked up. I got this Edelbrock fuel filter and some braided hose to connect to the hard line here. I got the PCV. I moved it from that side to this side because it's got this port for it on the carburetor on this side. This vacuum line is from the car. I think it operates the heat, HVAC, I'm not sure. I had to do a little adapter. Plugged it into this full vacuum port on the carb. This is not full vacuum. This is throttle, whatever, vacuum, which is going to go to the vacuum advance. But I want to set the timing first before I hook the vacuum advance up, so that is plugged off for now. Oh, that was weird. Put everything back the way it was initially, and now it starts up. So this is the patch I made for the hole where the ECM harness went through. I just took a piece of sheet metal, cut a square, and then RTV'd it in. That should hold it, and also it's not completely permanent. If anyone ever really wanted to put things back to original, you could peel that off and put it back. I'm just going to put some paint on it so it doesn't get rusty being out here. Somebody had previously painted over this trim piece. It's plastic, and I was able to remove a lot of it with lacquer thinner, but I think I'm going to take it off and respray it satin black. Also, this is supposed to be the color of the body. Somebody painted over this with black too, so I think I'm going to, while I have this off, I'm going to clean this and spray that red, and probably clean up these brackets too. Now that the engine looks so good, it makes everything else look kind of crappy. These are the kind of details that keep me up at night. I just I'm meaning to do this for a long time. Maybe people wouldn't even notice that this was incorrect, but you just, when you look under here, you just feel like, yeah, something doesn't look right. Just hoping this paint works. My track record with paint lately has not been good. Ended up doing about 4 coats and it worked out fine. So you just need to get a base coat on there for it to adhere. Just waiting for it to dry a little bit. And unfortunately, it doesn't really match like I thought it would. You know, the cap is virtually a perfect match to the car. But then as you can see, I mean, it's just not the same what's in the can. It's much more orange, but it'll have to do. Should look better than before, hopefully. Just put everything back together. Looking pretty good, I think. This is my 84 Camaro Z28. I bought it about 4 years ago, and it's been a bit of a project over that time. I've done a lot of repairs and upgrades on it, but the time has come to move on. And so in this video, I'm just doing the last few details to get it ready to put up for sale. So this will be like the 5th or 6th different cooling fan sensor I'm going to try. This one is from Ron Francis. It's a little bit more expensive. A lot more expensive, but it looks like it has the factory style connector, which is nice. And this one's supposed to turn on at 200, the fan, and off at 185, right? So it's a little bit higher temperature than the other ones, which is fine. It's still gonna be better than the 235, which is what the stock turn on is. So I gotta just get down there, unscrew it from the head, and then quickly try to screw this in without losing too much water. I've got the little catch pan underneath. So I just verified the new fan turn on switch. Shocked it actually works. It comes on at about 200 and goes off around 190 or a little bit lower. So that's exactly what I wanted. It's way better than the factory one and the other ones that didn't work. The gauge on the car is not really accurate. I mean, it doesn't really go past that first hash mark, which seems low, but according to my infrared sensor, it's pretty much exactly 200. A little bit lower now because the car's off, but when it was running, it was reading correctly. So we'll see how it holds up, because I've had others work and die, but I have hopes for this one. Yeah, so I recommend the Ron Francis fan turn on switch. So I still haven't gotten around to getting a headliner, but you know, these things are pretty expensive. I mean, I don't know. The T-top headliner, I think it's like over $400 shipped or something. Whatever it is, it's a lot of money. But I did get this missing trim piece that kind of goes between the headliner and the rear hatch. So it's gray, but it's the lighter shade of gray, probably from a later year car. So I have this, so I got two different paints here that's meant for the interior. I think this one's a little darker. I'm just gonna check in the car and see which would be a better match. This. That looks pretty close. That looks pretty close too. I think maybe this one's a little bit closer. To prep it with paint, the other day I washed it with simple green and hosed it off, and then I used this wax and tar remover. Why is it coming out like water? That's weird. Okay, that was weird. So at first it was just coming out like solvent or water. I guess I hadn't shaken enough. I really shook the can a lot more, and then it started coming out like paint. So this is one light coat. Got this worn spot in the carpet, and this stuff says it works on carpet and fabric, so I think I'll try to give it a little touch up there too. This carpet is terrible. I mean, it's faded, it's stained. It also needs to be replaced, but just haven't had it in the budget. These carpets, you know, used to be like $150 or something. Now you're looking at like $300 maybe. I don't know. Everything got too expensive. Gave a little once over on this side too. I mean, most of this is covered by the mat, but it was very uneven over here, and there are some other spots missing the carpet, so just give it a little quick spray. One other detail is I was always missing the cover for the dome light, so I got this replacement like, I don't know, a year ago. Just getting around to putting it on. This is not looking so great either. I could probably just spray it with that paint, which matches pretty good. Same with this. Conveniently, I just found some masking supplies in my mailbox. All right. Pretty good about this stuff is it matches so well that you could just paint the faded areas, and like down here I didn't have to paint because it wasn't faded, and it kind of blends pretty good. So I think that looks a lot better, and it took me maybe 30 minutes to do the whole thing. Not too bad. Rear trim piece is installed. Just needs the headliner now. New rear view is holding up pretty well. It's been on there for several days now, and I think that was the final thing. I cleaned it all up, washed it, And yeah, so I put it up on Facebook Marketplace. It's been up for a couple of days now. A few people have messaged me, but nobody has actually come to see it yet. But if anyone's interested, I could put a link. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description to this video if anyone's interested. I'm asking $8,900. If you watch my channel at all, you know pretty much all about the car. It's really nice. It's really in nice condition for an 84. Yeah, so it's all good to go. Everything's running good now. Cooling fan's working. Took care of everything I wanted to. The only thing it really needs is a headliner. And that was the way it was when I got it. I just never got around to doing it. But all the T-top seals are new. It's got Bluetooth and the factory radio. All the gauges work now, all the lights work. Doesn't leak water anymore when it rains. Tires are in good shape. They're a little bit older, but I mean, they have barely any miles on them from what it looks like. New exhaust system from Summit. Yeah, it's a really good car. So it's just, I've gotten to the point where I've just had too many cars. I can't keep up with the maintenance on my daily driver cars. Getting messages about people who were interested in the car. I had about 2 or 3 guys that were like, oh, it's gonna need a paint job, so I don't want it. I don't know why they thought that. I told them the paint was really good driver quality, not perfect. And to them that meant it's gonna need a paint job. Maybe if you're a perfectionist, I mean, it's a $7,000 car. It's not, you know, it's not a Ferrari. It's fine. Anyway, yeah, I had big plans. I was going to swap the motor. I had bought an L98 from a Corvette, aluminum head 350. I was going to put that in. I was going to get the transmission redone with a stall converter, and I guess, you know, that was the big plans. I sorted all the issues out, so I did accomplish that. Everything's good. Good to go. New battery. New blower motor. Ride's good, drives straight, tight. It's got a few rattles, creaks, but that's normal for these. If I really spent a lot of time, I could have worked all that out. These plastic pieces here. Like all these plastic pieces kind of rub against each other, or these plastic A-pillar trim, they rub against the T-top glass. You know, this can all be worked out with adjustments and minor little things like that. I tried, I didn't get it 100%, but completely worked out. Adjusted the glass so the windows fit. So anyway, that's it for the Camaro. I know a lot of viewers commented and messaged me about the Camaro. They like the Camaro. It's just time to move on. You know, like I said, various reasons, I just can't keep them all right now. So something had to go.